I train for mastery, not for applause. I don't train to impress others. I don't move for recognition or seek approval. My goal is mastery. While most chase comfort, I chase growth. Growth isn't found in ease, it's forged in struggle. People say knowledge is power, but knowledge alone is useless if your mind is already full. Like a cup that can't hold more water, a cluttered mind has no room for growth. When I began my journey, I had to unlearn. I let go of old beliefs, shed unnecessary thoughts, and cleared the mental noise. People cling to what feels safe, but sometimes, what you know is what holds you back. If I had stuck to one style, one way of thinking, I would have never evolved. Growth doesn't start by adding more. It starts by removing what no longer serves you. The world teaches you to collect, to memorize, to follow rules. But true mastery comes when you strip away the excess and focus on what truly matters. Doubt, hesitation, and fear take up space in your mind. Let them go. Challenge what you've been taught. An open, empty mind absorbs knowledge like a sponge. A cluttered mind becomes slow and heavy. If you want to move faster, think clearer, and grow stronger, start by letting go. Most people train for recognition. They want applause, praise, and validation. But when you train for others, your growth is limited by their attention. What happens when no one is watching? What happens when the applause stops? I never trained for an audience. My journey was mine alone. Silent, unseen, relentless. Mastery isn't built in public. It's built in the quiet moments when no one is watching. Many rely on external motivation. They push themselves only when others are looking. But that kind of training is fragile. True mastery is built in solitude. In the hours when there's no praise, no validation, just you and your discipline. I trained before sunrise. I trained when my body ached and my mind was tired. No one needed to see it because I wasn't doing it for them. Progress isn't measured by applause. It's measured by the effort you put in when no one is around. Discipline is the difference between those who succeed and those who remain average. A true warrior doesn't need recognition to keep going. They don't need to be seen to keep improving. Train for yourself, not for the world. Train because it's who you are. If you can stay dedicated when no one is watching, when there's no reward except the growth within you, then you're on the path to mastery. Mastery is constant, not conditional. Most people think training only happens when the body is in motion, lifting weights, throwing punches, or practicing techniques. They measure progress in sweat and exhaustion. But training isn't just physical, it's mental. It doesn't stop when the body stops moving. I trained even when I was still. I trained when I walked, when I sat, when I ate, when I rested. My training wasn't confined to the gym or the dojo. It was everywhere. True mastery isn't something you switch on and off. It becomes a part of you. Every moment is an opportunity to sharpen your mind, strengthen your focus, and refine your techniques. I visualized my movements, imagined my strikes landing perfectly, and pictured myself reacting faster. The mind can't distinguish between real action and imagined action. When you train in your mind, you prepare your body before it even moves. While others were distracted, I was training. When I walked down the street, I studied movement, my own and those around me. When I sat still, I rehearsed techniques in my mind. I saw openings, read body language, and anticipated attacks before they came. I didn't need to physically spar every second because I was already fighting in my mind. The body has limits, but the mind doesn't. You can train endlessly without moving. You can refine your skills while sitting still. You can strengthen your focus, reaction, and awareness by turning every moment into an opportunity for growth. Most people wait for the right time, the right place, the right conditions to train. I didn't wait. I trained when there was no gym, when I was tired, in silence, in stillness, in my own mind. That's why, when the real fight came, I was always ready. If you want to become stronger, don't wait for training time. Make every moment training time. Observe, learn, sharpen your focus. See everything as an opportunity to grow. When you master this, you'll always be improving, even when you're still. Break free from limits. From the beginning, I refused to be trapped by a single style. Many fighters cling to systems, traditions, and fixed techniques, believing it makes them strong. But systems create limits. They become cages, restricting movement, thought, and growth. I followed no system. I followed what worked. I questioned everything, tested everything. If it was useful, I kept it. If it was unnecessary, I discarded it, no matter how many generations had followed it before me. Truth isn't found in loyalty to a system. Truth is found in effectiveness. Martial arts was never meant to be rigid. It was meant to be alive, flowing, adaptable. Many fighters train the same techniques over and over, convinced their style is superior. But what happens when they face an opponent who moves differently? They hesitate, struggle, and lose because they're following rules instead of responding to the moment. I studied boxing, fencing, Wing Chun, grappling, and street fighting. I took what worked from each and merged them into my own way. I wasn't bound by tradition or loyal to any one master. My only loyalty was to improvement. A punch is a punch. A kick is a kick. No matter where it comes from, the only thing that matters is whether it works when you need it. This applies to life, too. Many follow outdated rules, afraid to question them. They stick to what they've been taught, even when it no longer serves them. They limit themselves because they fear change. I never feared change. I embraced it. Evolution is necessary for survival. If you don't adapt, you'll be left behind. When you free yourself from a fixed system, you become unpredictable, dangerous, and limitless. Strength comes from the core. Strength isn't just in the muscles or the fists, it comes from the core. Not just the physical core, but the mental core. A warrior is built from the connection between mind and body, from the ability to move as one, to think and act without separation. Many train their bodies but neglect their minds. They lift weights, run, and push themselves physically. But when pressure comes, they crumble. Why? Because their mind was never trained to endure. I never separated my mind from my body. Every strike I threw was backed by full awareness, control, and intention. When I trained my core, I wasn't just making my body stronger, I was making my will unbreakable. A weak body can endure if the mind is strong, but a weak mind will cause even the strongest body to fail. The core is the center of movement, the source of power, the foundation of stability. Without a strong core, balance is weak, strikes lack force, and endurance fades. This applies to the mind as much as the body. Without a strong mental core, focus is weak, discipline fades, and confidence disappears. The body may be ready, but if the mind hesitates, there's no action. When I trained, I made sure my core was solid, physically and mentally. Physically, I strengthened my abs, lower back, and hips because power comes from the center, not just the limbs. Mentally, I conditioned my mind to be stable, focused, and unwavering. No distractions, no hesitation, no weakness. Most people treat the mind and body as separate things. They strengthen one but neglect the other. That's why they struggle. That's why they fail under pressure. A true warrior doesn't allow division between mind and body. They are one. Every motion is a reflection of thought. Every decision is executed with full intent. There's no hesitation, no conflict, only action. When the mind and body move as one, there's no fear, no weakness, no uncertainty. There's only control, strength, and mastery. If you want to become unstoppable, train both. Strengthen your body, but more importantly, strengthen your mind. Because a weak mind will always break first, and once the mind breaks, the body follows. The path of the unshakable. I've been hit. I've been knocked down. I've felt pain, but I didn't break. A warrior isn't someone who never falls. It's someone who rises every time. Most people fear being hit, not just physically, but in life. They avoid pain, failure, and struggle. But the only way to become unshakable is to face hardship, take the hits, and keep moving forward. Pain is a test. Pressure is a test. Life will strike you when you least expect it. If your foundation is weak, you'll fall and stay down. But if your core is strong, you'll take the impact and stand firm. Strength isn't about never experiencing hardship. It's about never allowing hardship to break you. When I trained, I didn't avoid pain. I embraced it. Every punch I absorbed made me stronger. Every fall taught me how to rise faster. Every challenge made me more resilient. The world doesn't care how strong you are when things are easy. It only tests how strong you are when things become difficult. I trained my core not just to withstand physical blows, but to withstand mental and emotional ones. Life doesn't just attack the body, it attacks the spirit. It brings failure, disappointment, and setbacks. These hits can knock you down, but only if your core is weak. A strong core, physically, mentally, emotionally, keeps you standing, even when the world tries to bring you to your knees. Many crumble after one failure. They quit after one setback. They surrender because the pain is too much. But I never let pain defeat me. I understood that pain was a teacher, struggle was a forge, and hardship was the process of transformation. The fire that burns the weak is the same fire that hardens the strong. To be unshakable, you must build your foundation so strong that no impact, no defeat, no pain can destroy you. You must condition yourself to endure, to take the hit and not crumble. If you flinch when struck, if you fall and don't rise, then you haven't trained your core properly. The mind, spirit, and body must be in harmony. It's not enough to be physically strong if your mind is weak. A strong body with a weak mind collapses under pressure. That's why I trained beyond the physical. I conditioned my mind to endure, to adapt, to stay composed even in the face of overwhelming force. When I was exhausted, I didn't stop. When I was in pain, I kept pushing. I understood that struggle was necessary, that breaking limits required discomfort. Many seek comfort, thinking it will make them happy, but comfort makes people weak. Those who avoid hardship, who run from pain, who fear struggle, will never know true strength. Strength doesn't come from ease. It comes from survival. It comes from standing up when you're tired, pushing forward when you're scared, and refusing to surrender when you feel like you have nothing left. That's the difference between the weak and the strong. The weak find excuses to stop. The strong find reasons to continue. The journey never ends. Most people train to reach a goal. They believe there's a finish line, a point where they can say, "I've made it." But mastery doesn't have an end. There's no final level, no ultimate destination. The moment you think you've arrived, you begin to decline. I never trained to reach a final state. I trained to evolve, to grow, to continue refining myself beyond limits. Many fighters reach a certain skill level and stop improving. They become comfortable. They believe they know enough. But the world doesn't stop moving. The challenges don't stop coming. The moment you stand still, you start falling behind. A warrior's journey isn't about reaching the top. It's about continuously climbing. There are no plateaus, only illusions of success that trick you into stopping. The greatest enemy of progress is the belief that you've done enough, that you're good enough, that you've reached your peak. I rejected this mindset. I didn't train to reach a limit. I trained to erase my limits. Every level I reached wasn't an end. It was a doorway to a new beginning. People who seek an endpoint never become truly great because they don't see the infinite nature of growth. This isn't just about fighting. It's about life. Many reach success and become stagnant. They stop learning, stop pushing, stop evolving. But the real masters, the real warriors, never stop refining themselves. They're always seeking the next level, the next skill, the next lesson. Imagine climbing a mountain. You struggle, you sweat, you push yourself to reach the top. But when you get there, what do you see? Another peak, higher than the one you just climbed. The journey never ends. There's always more to explore, more to achieve, more to become. I didn't train for a prize. I didn't seek a title. I didn't chase recognition. I chased evolution. I wanted to move faster, strike harder, think sharper, react quicker, not just for today, but for every day after. I didn't care about being the best in a single moment. I wanted to keep improving for life. Too many people fear change. They fear pushing past their limits because it's uncomfortable. But comfort is the enemy of progress. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. If you're not struggling, you're not improving. That's why I always sought the hard path, the difficult training, the lessons others avoided. I understood that mastery isn't a destination. It's a constant process. If you stop seeking improvement, you'll fall. If you believe you've reached perfection, you're already declining. That's why I never stopped. Every day was another chance to refine my skills, another chance to become better than I was yesterday. I studied everything, every fighting style, every technique, every philosophy. I read books on strategy, psychology, and movement. I didn't limit myself to one way of thinking. I didn't allow my mind to become rigid. Growth happens when you remain open, when you absorb knowledge from every possible source. Those who think they've reached the top will eventually be surpassed by those who keep climbing. That's the law of nature. The moment you stop growing, someone else is pushing forward, and soon, they'll pass you. That's why I never settled. I never believed I was done. There was always something new to learn, something to refine, a way to be better. This mindset doesn't apply only to fighting. It applies to everything in life. A businessman who stops innovating will be left behind. An artist who stops learning will become outdated. A leader who stops evolving will lose their influence. Growth is the only way forward. The body ages. The physical form weakens over time. But the mind, the skill, the knowledge, these things can continue growing forever. A true warrior doesn't only train the body, he trains the mind. And a strong mind never stops learning. The greatest battle is within. The greatest battle isn't against an opponent, it's against yourself. It's against the voice that tells you to rest when you should train. It's against the thoughts that tell you you've done enough when you know you can do more. It's against the temptation to settle when you have the power to go further. The only true limit is the one you place on yourself. The only real ending is the one you choose to accept. I chose never to accept an end. I chose to keep evolving, keep learning, keep growing. If you want to be great, don't look for a finish line. There is none. Seek progress, not completion. Seek refinement, not perfection. Seek evolution, not an end. When you understand this, you'll never stop improving. You'll never stop rising. You'll never stop becoming more than you were yesterday. The moment you stop learning, you start dying. The moment you stop growing, you start fading. Don't seek an end, seek endless growth. That's the true path to mastery. Be water. Be unstoppable. Most people seek shortcuts. I seek the hard way. Most people wait for motivation. I build discipline. Most people fear struggle. I embrace it. If you wish to be strong, be ready to suffer. If you wish to grow, be willing to break. If you wish to master life, be willing to master yourself. Be water. Be unstoppable. Be limitless. The journey doesn't end here. It never does. Now go. Train your mind. Train your body. Train your soul.